Hello everybody, it is Christine. It is time for a scrap room design team video. And y'all, I got a major thunderstorm boiling outside. So if y'all hear thunder, that's what's going on. So what I've got this, so scrap room, of course, is the flavors of the month, is typically what I'm going to use. I technically do have the embellishment kit and the paper add-on. So I try to focus on the flavors of the month though, so that if you decide you want to join the kit club, you know, this is the basic kit. That being said, if you're an embellishment kind of girly, you know, obviously that embellishment kit, I'm never going to turn you away from it. But basically, this is the collection I'm going to work with today, which is the 49 and Market Nature's Haven. I'm going to be brutally transparent here and tell you I have actually already bought the collection too, because this is just so stunning, and I'm so excited. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something that's going to take some effort, y'all. So I'm going to be off camera for a bit. Y'all won't know because, of course, I'll pop back on here, and it'll be like nothing ever happened for you. But basically, these are these are just stunning. Y'all, 49 Market, first off, is just gorgeous artwork. But look at all this gorgeous artwork. So this is the front side. I have a little strawberry set on, little strawberries on the back side. These are all like little strawberries and flowers. This right here is the little bees and stuff. It's kind of this cool. Look at this. This is like paint dribbles. This is beautiful. And then there's kind of a nice gingham on the back. And then here's like a little bee one, again, with that gorgeous artwork kind of coming up your sides. And then there's a little patchwork on the back. So I love these because this stuff here is just, you could definitely just like put your photo kind of in here or on one side or the other actually, and then add, you know, stuff. Or you could use the back side and this little quilt. This is just too cute. You could cut these apart, you know, whatever. So what I've decided to do, I'm going to be a little bold, y'all. I'm going to use some stash stuff, just transparently, because I'm going to fussy cut these. So that's why I have to go off camera for a minute. I'm going to fussy cut these out, and I'm going to use, because you do also get 2 pieces of cardstock with your flavors of the month. And I've got this white cardstock, which is, actually, I love this is a Colors by Photoplay. I actually really enjoy their cardstock. It's a smooth cardstock. And I am going to, y'all, I got a little bit of sniffles too. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to fussy cut this stuff so that I'm going to still put it in the same kind of basic location. I think I may layer. I have to kind of see once I get them cut apart what I end up with. And I'm going to use, I pulled out a stencil from my stash. It's an art anthology. And I love these butterflies. So now that I'm saying that, they almost need to, I may have to flip it. That's what I'll do. You can flip these. That's okay. They don't have to always go that direction. I can flip it this direction. Because if my art's coming from like this, I may need to go this way. I'll have to see. And then I pulled out some distressed oxides. If I'm honest, I did a little chat GPT search to see which ones go with this collection, as it were. And I didn't have a single one it listed. So I had to get into my own brain and look to see which ones I thought might go. And this is what I ended up with. It looks really bright on the cover. I got just crushed olive, tattered rose, and dried marigold. But I do have little, like, swatches, which I've decided I'm going to make bigger ones. I just realized. I was watching Vicky Booten the other day, and she had like nice little cards. I'm thinking I need to do that. Anyway, I think these go really pretty. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So screenshot that. If you get this, you know, if you get this collection here, this scrap room, the flavors of the month, make sure you got these little names here. So I'm thinking I'm going to use that and somehow do something. I do have the little bits that come with the what am I trying to say, y'all? The little embellishments that you do get with the flavors of the month. I got a bunch of little ephemeras here. So I love the little strawberry hearts. That's really cute. There's a big strawberry there. So I'm thinking I'm going to layer those in. I do have a few little like labels and things. And these cute little, like, these are good layering pieces. So, you know, you could layer stuff like that. I've got these photos. These are not the best photos of me, if I'm honest. Y'all look at my head. It looks like really strange. I had my hair pulled back way too tight. I don't know. And look how much taller my daughter is than me, y'all. Is that not ridiculous? I think I was slightly back or something like that, but she's still way taller. Anyways, I'm thinking I'm either going to use 1 or 2. I haven't decided because it depends on how this comes out. So let me get to cutting. So that's what I'm going to do next, is go ahead and fussy cut these pieces here and see what I end up with. I mean, I can kind of see it, but I want to see like when I get to cutting. I mean, I'm kind of sad because I do have these stitches and stuff, and I don't think I'll be able to like, cut that really. So I'm going to probably end up with just like the strawberries and the flowers and stuff. I could technically come in here and cut any of these others if I really want to. There's not as much fussy cutting on that piece. I don't know though, because this ends up with little bees. This one maybe, but then again, it still looks vertical to me. Technically, I could come from this if I really felt like it. I don't know. because I do have that. I do have, like I said, if I want to, I can get into my embellishment kit, which had the rub-ons included, and I may do that. I try not to get into the extras, just again, so you can kind of see what can be done. On the other hand, teaser, right? Maybe you should buy this too. So let me do the fussy cutting. And also, like I said, I've got the stencil and the ink. I've got to figure out how I want to do that. And I'll be back on in just a second. Okay, gang, quick check-in because I have fussy cut. Oops. I fussy cut my little elements here. And so this was kind of like this. And then this was over here like this. But I'm going to have to like add, it's going to have to kind of be overlapped a little because it looks a little strange now. Without like the art from the actual paper anymore, it looks a little strange by itself. So I think I'm going to do that. I think that's really lovely. Now the other thing I've decided to do is go ahead and frame it. So again, I have bought this collection, so I think I have the same sheet of paper in my other stuff. So I think I'm going to frame it with this because the other back side is the patchwork, and I don't think I want that to be my outside. So we're going to go with that. So I'm going to trim that down, and then I think the photos are going to come down here. Let's see, because I have this little piece here now. They almost have to kind of go here, don't they? Now that all being said, let's see. I'm kind of imagining that. This is just obviously dry fitting this stuff together here. I'm kind of losing my daughter there. I don't want to cover that flower really, but maybe I can tuck it in like that. And like that. And then what I'm thinking I'm going to do, and now I'm thinking that's too low. What if I bring it up here, something like this? Because see, I've got my little stencil here, right? So, and also the rub-ons, which could also be introduced. And of course, I've got my bits here. So I mean, I could totally like, can I kind of do something like that? I mean, this little wood piece is kind of meant for journaling, so maybe I'll do it over here. Oops, let's see. Is that upside down? Well, that's a piece of wood, y'all. I think it's like this. I could bring that in here. Yeah, this is going to take some finagling. This looks cute, though. Kind of like this. And then I'm trying to decide, though. It almost does need to go like this. I could bring it up like this. Like, I wouldn't necessarily use this stuff out here. I can bring this up like that. And I can even do multiple layers there. And, again, I still have these things. So, all right, let me do my trimming and stuff. And I'll probably be on voiceover next time you hear me. I don't know that I need to. I'm kind of trying to decide if I want to matte these anymore. I like the white against that, but well, I'm going to bring the colors in, so I may not need to. Okay, y'all. I'm rambling. Okay, let me stop talking. Let me trim my things. I'll be back on in a second. Okay, y'all. I'm going to be honest and tell you I love how this turned out. It is very technique-heavy layout because I'm off today. We just returned from a cruise yesterday, and I took the day off to kind of, frankly, get back in the house and do a little chores and things like that. And my husband didn't, so I'm like, well, I'm going to go upstairs and play. So I had time today. So I decided to go ahead and do this stuff. And I'm really pleased with it. So as you can see, the first thing I've got going on is my stencil with the tattered rose. And I'm using that to make my little butterflies. Now, just so you know, if you're, I mean, most of you guys watching, I think, are actual, experienced scrapbookers. But just in case you don't know or whatever, I typically will start off like inside the stencil part and then go into the little hole so that my ink isn't real dark inside the hole. So I'm kind of coming into it, if that makes sense. Because you don't want like a big old spot, like a heavy spot. Well, you might sometimes on purpose, but that's not my intention here. I did have to kind of like, in my mind, widen my butterfly flight. So I'm going to reposition this thing a couple of different times and do a couple of different little sets of butterflies. I did put washi tape on the butterfly sections that I really didn't want to accidentally capture with my ink. So that's why you see that washi tape. Plus, it kind of helped hold it in place when I was actually doing the stencil part here. So I'm just kind of building like a bunch of little butterflies coming up. at different little angles or whatever. And once I get that done, I'm thinking this looks kind of cute. I did decide to go ahead, by the way. I had mentioned maybe I'd have to flip it or something. And once I kind of started laying down my little kind of dry fit in those fussy cut elements, I go, no, it's going to look good with it going up this direction. So I'm just kind of, again, dry fitting, y'all. I like to kind of make sure that where I've got stuff is where I got stuff, where I want it. And so I'm kind of dry fitting again. And I will in a minute take my pencil because I am going to add more ink. And again, I'm really proud because sometimes my mixed media does not turn out the way I expect. I did a layout not too long ago with like a bunch of punched hearts, and I used like pink and red or something. And I was disappointed because I didn't let it dry enough, and it just didn't do the colors I wanted or whatever. But this one, I was really happy with this one. So this is where I've got my little pencil marks. And I'm kind of marking it because I'm going to make like a little halo. And I've seen other folks do this, so this is not my original idea. Couldn't tell you who. I mean, I've just seen it done. But I'm going to use first the green, which is the sage, I think it was. Y'all, I've done forgot what colors, and I set them up. I put them away already. It's that green right there on the left-hand side. I don't think it's sage. I think it's something else. I'm sorry. You're going to have to look over there. Anyway, I'm making this little halo. And again, I'm starting kind of where I know the images are going to cover it up so I can come outward. And it's kind of this yellowy green, which I think is okay. It kind of goes, it's a little brighter than my sample. I may need to remake my samples because they may have faded. I thought it was a little softer green, but it's still okay because it still goes with the greens in here, but it's a little brighter than I thought. So I make my little halo. I'm going to do the bottom, and it takes me just a second. And I leave all this in here. I thought about editing it out, but honestly, I think it sometimes helps with mixed media to kind of see how something comes together. So I'm leaving this part in here. And then in a second, I'm going to flip it over, and I do find it easier to come from the bottom up. So I'm going to rotate my page and do the top part by coming from the bottom up again. So I'm going to just make my pencil marks, and then I'm going to do my little halo with the green again. And then after I get my green done, I will come back in with that marigold, which is the more like yellowy orange color. And I will add my little halos and stuff with that. And you'll see me. Now this is also, I've got my little colored brushes. I don't know if you paid any attention, but I do use little colored brushes, which is like I use green for green inks. I had to use the brown for the orange because I guess I don't have an orange brush. I don't know what happened there. I guess it didn't come with it. So I do use the brown for the orange, but I got the pink for the pink and then the green for the green, and then I use the brown for the orange. But that just helps me make sure I don't accidentally like really mix up inks. I mean, I have some that are black handled, like a whole little set of different sizes, and all these color ones are the same size. So now and again, I will pull out the black one, but most of the time I use these color ones because they just help me keep it straight. Even though I do try to brush off the colors and stuff before I use the next set, but, you know, inevitably, you're going to screw it up if you're not careful. Okay, so I'm making my little halos here, and then after I do that, I think I actually use my ATG to glue it down. I think that's the green, so I think now I'm going to start doing no? Now I've got my brown in my hands. I think I'm finishing up the orange. I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. I was just jibber-jabbering. That's terrible. I have also, by the way, cut down that white cardstock by a 1/4 inch on each side. I don't leave a lot of the green frame. And I didn't gut the green either, y'all, because I did, like I said, I bought this collection, so I have this same sheet of paper. And I wasn't going to use it for the photo mats because I'll introduce one of the ephemera pieces that has that, you can see that green gingham on that little ephemera piece there, the journal bit. And so I thought, I don't really need it to mat the photos, which is the only other reason I might do something like that. So now I'm going to kind of start organizing. I haven't glued it down yet. I think I will in just a second. I'm just making sure things are kind of where I want them. I'll also decide before I glue them down, though, that I do want to add some sprinkles and stuff. And the other thing I also decide to do is stamp. And I also decide to use the water activation. So I'm telling you, I like a dozen different techniques on this particular layout before I glue this down. So here's where I pulled out these little, they're like coffee ring splatter type stamps. I've used them fairly recently, and I thought, these are so cute. I need to use these more. So I went ahead and pulled it out. I don't use a block or anything. I just go ahead and use my fingers here, which means 1 or 2 of them don't fully like stamp. But because, again, it's like splattery and grungy mixed media-y, I don't really care. So I'm just using my fingers and kind of going around in like a different, I don't even know. It's not really a visual triangle because I end up putting like 4 smaller like spots or whatever, but I think it turns out really pretty. So I use the green first, then I'll come in with the marigold and make some bigger splotches, which you're seeing, and then I'll come back in with the tattered rose, And I'll add another little strip of the tattered rose. And again, I think this looks kind of cool. I'm pretty, I almost pulled out like a word, like, because the original pattern on the paper had like words. I don't know if you could really read them. Let's say letters or whatever, text print maybe. And I almost pulled that out. And then I changed my mind. And I will tell you, I'll pull out the rub-ons. I look at them several times. I'll actually end up using some stuff off the rub-ons, you guys. So apologies. I will add something from the embellishment kit. But I decided against the stamps and stuff. I thought it would look really pretty. But then by the same token, I was kind of happy with what was going on. And I did not want to mess up my ideas. So here's where I add the little pink splatters first. And I've just got that tattered rose. I just wanted a little subtleness because the white was very stark. And then in a second, I'm going to use the water in my cup and sprinkle it on the green and marigold stuff. And then I'll blot it to give it that water activation. Now, honestly, most of it gets covered up because the images cover it up. But I still enjoyed having that dimension showing. See how that water activation? That's so neat. Like I said, it gets covered up quite a bit by the images, but I don't even care because I thought it looked so pretty. Okay, so I've got that done, and I think now is when I'm going to start gluing down. I don't know. I might glue the big paper. I might glue the base page down first. I don't remember if I do the images and then the base page, or if I do the base page first. I might do the images first. Yep, here's where I do that. So I just use a little ATG on the edges because I will come in. I'll show you kind of when I start to cut away to do it, but I'm going to actually come back in and add foam dots up underneath, like the little strawberries that I cut out, the leaves, different things like that. And I'll add a couple of different depths. There's like a skinny foam square and then like a thicker foam square, and I'll use those in just a minute. I really enjoy how I was able to layer those two at the bottom, though. I think that turned out really pretty, too. If you remember, like I said, the one on the left-hand side was actually on the right-hand side of the page, and I've kind of reversed that, and I think it looks really pretty. I'm really happy with this. Okay, so there's my base page, y'all. So now, I think this is where I'm going to start kind of messing with the actual photos and stuff. And again, I did not actually mat these. These were printed with a little border, and I left them like that. I think I've actually scrapped these photos before because I noted it on my phone, but they just look so cute with this, and I don't know what I do with that layout, so you know what, I did it anyway. I decided to do it anyway, even though my hair looked kind of weird. Basically, the journaling, though, I will add a little bit of journaling, but it's, this is my daughter. I've mentioned this before, and we are kind of besties, and she's always been my little bestie since she was small. I used to carry her around with me everywhere, basically. I mean, I did work full-time, so it wasn't like I took her to work, but, like, when she was really small at the house, you know, I'd take her to the bathroom with me or have her in the kitchen with me, or, you know, she was always in, like, a little bouncy seat or a swing or something, so she's always kind of been my little buddy, and I call her my running buddy or something, and then we, you know, always took her shopping and just all kinds of stuff, and I'm really grateful for having her in my life. So my journaling is just basically, I'm so grateful. Brooke and I are besties. I love her so much. So it's just a, you know, sweet little layout about my daughter. Just kind of taking all the various different pieces of ephemera that came in the kit here, yeah, the flavors of the month, I guess is the right way to say that. I'm taking those and just kind of organizing them. So I got the little wood log piece is going to be that journaling spot, which y'all saw that earlier. There was a little frame in there, so I've kind of put that over the log, between the log and the little gingham card, because I thought it looked a little empty and needed a little something. And then there's some tickets. I looked at this little doily a couple of times, but it really wasn't going to fit anywhere, so that does not go on the layout. I cut the tickets up in just a second. That little tag there doesn't go on the layout. It gets put back. There's a couple little pieces that just, Here's why I'm looking at the rub-ons thinking, do I want to add those? Decide against it for a second. I do find the little strawberry hearts. I think that's really cute. I took the bigger strawberry that's tucked down in there underneath the log and in the little branches and stuff. And then here's where I got these little tickets. I put one on the side of the photo on the left, and then I'll put two in the upper image up there because I really hadn't done much with that image yet. It was by itself. And I thought, well, I'll expand that just a bit with those tickets. And I'm really happy. I'm looking at this going, this is so pretty. I'm going to start gluing everything down. I'm going to cut away in just a second and finish up this little bit of gluing here. Actually, the sad thing, I don't know why I left this part in here. I will show you in just a second. I'm going to yank those foam squares out, and you'll see that the two different kinds. The little skinny ones, I think they're 1 millimeter, but don't get me the line. They have little black spots on them. It shows you that it's the thin ones, and then the white ones are I guess the thicker one, or the little bit normal sized ones or whatever. So that's the two I use kind of on the various different ends. And then I did decide to go ahead and pull out these rub-ons, you guys. I just couldn't help myself. The little strawberries were calling. So I'm kind of looking at this. I want the strawberries to kind of fall from the top up there. and then I'll add one at the bottom eventually. But first, like I said, I'm kind of going to pull out like 3 little strawberries. It just looked like a perfect little touch to make it, like I said, look like the strawberries were falling onto the photo blocks down there. So I'll just find 3 little strawberry pieces. I'm going to just kind of make them, you know, go back and forth a little bit. I do staple the rub-ons together, by the way. The 49 Market rub-ons are wonderful. But just so that you don't like accidentally separate your backing from the front, I always staple mine like on the side or the top or something so that, again, they're kind of kept together, and I just kind of cut around it. I just really recommend that to make sure you don't boo-boo your rub-ons, because it's really sad if you get something in between by accident. Like if you shove it back into your envelopes or something and you get something accidentally between your backing and your rub-on, and it's like, oh man. So don't ruin your rub-ons. Make sure you staple them together. Okay, so there's 3 of those, and then I'll pick one more and I'll put it, oh, and by the way, the other thing I will tell you about these rub-ons, they're wonderful layered. So if you want to like put one down and then layer a strawberry on top of it or something like that, that would have worked too. I just chose not to with this particular layout because I had already done the stenciling with the little butterflies and stuff like that. But they absolutely layer wonderfully. So there's those 3, and I'll do one at the bottom, kind of tucked in on the right-hand side over there. I don't know what made me choose over there. I guess because it was kind of a little gap to me. I don't know. It just looked like it would fit there nicely. So I'm going to stick it over there. And then I do go off camera to do a little bit of journaling I do. Oh, I did add, by the way, Discover Nature's Haven. That was little pieces of ephemera as well. I just glued those down. So I guess the title is going to be Discover Nature's Haven. It's not a real big title. It's not giant letters or anything like that. It's just on the little wood piece, and I thought it was kind of pretty. And it's not really nature for us, but that's okay. We're just going to pretend it is. And that is the layout, you guys. Is that not beautiful? I just love this artwork. I love this Flavors of the Month set here. This was just wonderful. So please make sure you check out the Facebook group. If you do happen to do a layout with this collection with your Flavors of the Month, you can drop it in there. And then, of course, check out the website if you're interested in the subscription. I love it. You get 4 different little collections, little samplings. So if you really love a collection like I did on this one, you can go buy the full one. But this is a wonderful little monthly kit club. So thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time. Bye.